Good evening, everybody at the book club. Welcome to one more interesting session. We have Monali Chatterjee with us today to discuss a very iconic, a legendary filmmaker, Satyajit Ray, and one of his films. Now, this particular movie can be described as a children's film, but I think it is more than that for sure. It has won awards. It was apparently very successful when it opened. It ran for some 51 weeks in the cinemas, which was a record for a Bengali language film to run that long. So I'm curious to find out more about it. And then Monali, who describes herself very modestly as a literature and cinema enthusiast. Well, Monali, we know you're so much more than just that. You're an educator. You have so many streams in which you are working in that field of education. A very impressive kind of a curriculum that you are putting forth. So here, however, yes, we are interested in you today as a cinema enthusiast. So that's the persona that we're going to see today. Monali, welcome. And can I hand the mic?
Thank you, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. I'll just share the screen.
So I think we can all mute ourselves now.
Thank you very much for that very sweet and generous introduction. So here we go. We have Goopy and Bagha. This is supposed to be one of the most popular Bengali films of its time and even today. So in case if somebody is a Bengali or irrespective of whatever language he or she follows, this is a classic movie that was made for children at a time when children's films were very few in number. Okay, so this is what I'll be talking about. There's an introduction, some basic information. We will talk about Satyajit Ray, some analysis, typography, music and choreography. I have some interesting details about the cast and crew of the film. We will also look at the criticism and comparisons on the way ahead. So this is, so basically Satyajit Ray had already made his name as a very serious filmmaker who spoke about some of the contemporary issues of the day, or tried to depict certain things that we normally did not project on Indian cinema. So he had already made a name with that. But one fine day, of course, his son Sandeep told him that you only make movies for the adults, but what about us? So we have nothing to fall back on as far as your movies are concerned. So that is how Goopy Gayan Bagha Bayen came into existence. And then there was Hirak Raja Deshe, and then Goopy Bagha Firelo came up next. So this is also the first of its trilogy. So some basic information: the release date, as you can see, is 8 May 1969. It was made during 1968 and the previous year. As you can see, the director is Satyajit Ray. The story has been written by Upendra Kishore Rai Chaudhary. He has written a lot for children, and for this film, some of the details, some of the facts have been altered to suit the audience. As far as the budget is concerned, as you can see, it is not so great a budget, but during that time, it was supposed to be a very heavy budget movie. The screenplay has been written by Satyajit Ray, and of course, it has won several national awards. Only some of them are mentioned here. Now, a thing or two about Satyajit Ray. He has been an Oscar winner, but apart from that, he has also received a lot of awards like these. Okay, these are some of them. Since there are so many, I'm not naming all of them, but Legion d'Honneur is supposed to be one of the best that he's got here. These are some of his films. Okay, so Goopy and Bagha Bayen is not his first. In fact, it is his 8th or 9th film in a row. So let us go to the story. So Goopy Gayan is actually Gopinath Gayan, who actually is the son of a farmer and lives a humble life. Uh, Goopy and Bagha both are the protagonists of the story, and they both belong to play to villages called Amloki and Hortuki, respectively. Amloki is Avla, Hortuki, I don't know the Hindi version of this, but it is supposed to be a sour fruit with medicinal values. So there's a play on the name, and we will talk about that later. But when the story opens, Gopinath Kind, farmer's son, and is seen with a newly acquired tanpura, as you can see. He's very fond of singing, and he sort of demonstrates his talent to the elderly villagers, who viciously suggest to him to sing in front of the palace at daybreak, so that the king listens to his music, enjoys it, and rewards him. But when he implements the suggestion, the king is very angry because it wakes him up from his sleep. He struggles out of the mosquito net. As you can see in the second scene, the guard actually falls down on his way to report to the king. Now, these are certain things that are inserted into the plot so that it becomes more humorous and interesting for the children to watch, but hasn't got any other consequence in the film. So the king brings him to the court and humiliates him, gets him banished from the village of Amloki on a donkey's back. So this is what happens. Gopinath Gayan actually goes there hoping that he would be rewarded for his music, but as you can see, his tanpura has been broken. And the villagers had suggested to him, do not say Gopinath Gayan. Gayan is actually a farmer. That's a very typical surname of a farmer. But then he called himself Gopinath Gayan, which Gayan, so that it sounds like that singer, the surname of a singer. So this is how he was banished on a donkey's back. By evening, he reaches a jungle of bamboo trees, a very thickly wooded area. And here he meets Bagha. I'm very sorry for the quality of pictures, but then these are screenshots from the film that we all saw on YouTube, and the quality is not great. Now, Bagha is also a drummer who has been banished from the village of Portuki. Ideally, they wouldn't have become friends so quickly and easily, but a sudden apparition of a tiger quickly draws them together. And with the setting of the night, something very drastic happens. So here, as you can see, this is actually a tiger. It's not very evident here, but it's actually a tiger, and they are really frightened. When the tiger goes away, they witness the king of ghosts, who actually gets a very elaborate performance done in front of them. And there are, as you can see, there are 4 different panels. In fact, there are 5. 4 are visible here, but there are 5 different panels of 5 different kinds of dances that the ghosts do. And each of them have about 4 rounds of their dance. Most of these dances are based on folk dances, particularly Chau, and also a folk dance from Madhya Pradesh. I don't know the name. Also, apart from that, the last 2 are actually a dig on the pre-independence era. So in one of the types, we see that there are white ghosts, so a dig on the British rulers who ruled our country. And another kind that you can see in the last panel are supposed to be Bengali babus, all very fat and lazy, and the kinds who fight amongst one another. So in the beginning, everybody dances peacefully. Towards the end, we find that the dancers try to beat each other, they try to attack each other and cause chaos, which eventually happens in the course of the film as well. So this is the ghost. Uh, so this is what he says, "I don't worry, I'm the king of ghosts, but I can give you 3 boons." This is what he tells Goopy and Bagha, and they are overjoyed with the fact that there's a ghost, and the ghost is not here to kill them, but to give them 3 boons of their choice. So this is what they select. So boon number 1 is, uh, this is what they choose. The first boon is if they do a high five, if Goopy and Bagha do a high five, they can get food and clothes of their choice. The second is, this is what something that everybody would want actually. The second one is a pair of magic shoes for each of them, so that which can reach them anywhere they like. So that's an amazing boon. And the third one is, Gopinath actually mentioned this to the ghost, that in case if we can make people happy by singing to them, then it would be wonderful. And so the ghost said, fine, the moment you sing, people are going to be spellbound by your music. And so it was. So the next day, when at daybreak, when Goopy notices a miraculous transformation in his voice, he sings to welcome the dawn, and so does Bagha in playing the dole. So this is how they enjoy their music for the first time. And when they are very hungry, they call for food, again a high five, and they have food in front of them. And for the first time, they really enjoy the food, because they have never had such a lot of food before. So they eat to their full with the sumptuous meal that automatically fill their plates. But then after they have their meal, they realize that they have got no place to stay in. So this is what happens while they contemplate as to where to stay. And then Bagha actually tells Goopy that we should have asked for 1 more boon. Maybe we should have asked the ghost for a place to stay in. At that time, they find a hurrying caravan of musicians, and from them, they learn about a music contest in the kingdom of Shundi. So hoping that the winners, who become court musicians eventually, would be granted a decent place to stay in, they reach the place with a clap of their hands. Now, even before they do that, they sort of mishear the actual name of Shundi, and then they first land up in Jhundi, which is a snow-filled place, and then they land up in Hundi, which is which is a place as hot as a desert. So this is done again to make things more interesting for the children, but can have other kinds of implications for adult viewers. So the kingdom, and so then after this, the scene shifts to a place called Halla. So here the kingdom of Halla and its king are controlled by an evil but powerful minister, the prime minister, who is aided by his black magician. I will show you the black magician later. And his name is Barfi. And from this name, Barfi, we have a very popular Bollywood film, Barfi, by Anurag Basu. That is how he was paying tribute to Satyajit Ray. So Barfi's magic was supposed to lapse in 3 days, and this concerns this minister you can see here. This minister's spy reports to him that there is no army or a defense system in this kingdom of Shundi, but there's only peace, there's happiness, there are crops in the field, there's beauty of nature, and one can find music, but nothing else. So as soon as he hears this, this minister resolves that the time is ripe to attack and conquer the kingdom of Shundi. So this is supposed to be Shundi, a very happy place. There's a fair going on. People are very happy here. But when Goopy and Bagha reach this place, they realize that people answer their questions or about directions to the palace by through sign language. So the simple people of Shundi cannot speak but communicated only through sign language. So needless to mention, there were so many musicians here, but Goopy and Bagha baffle the king with their music and win the contest and are overjoyed with the royal accommodation they received. Okay, so meanwhile, under the effect of Burfi's magical drugs, the king of Halla orders his evil minister, his evil prime minister, and the commander-in-chief to prepare for the war, okay, for the conquest of Shundi and the parades. So so this is the king, and this, as you can see, is the minister. Okay, so this is after this I will narrate, because every time I tried to paste the screenshot, it was the quality wasn't very good, so I had to stop there. So on the other hand, the kingdom of Shundi, and the king of Shundi tells Goopy and Bagha that some years ago, when he was away on a pilgrimage with his family, a mysterious illness had robbed his subjects of their speech. So even his musicians had not been spared, and that is why he had organized this music contest. On the same day, the king of Shundi receives an alarming news of Halla's impending attack on Shundi. So the king tells Goopy and Bagha that, when the king actually faints, and later on, of course, he explains to Goopy and Bagha that the king of Halla was his own brother, and he was as simple as a child. In fact, the person who has played the king of Shundi, Santosh Dutt, has also played the king of Halla. So here we can see a Jurva character, a twin character. So for a long time, he had heard no news of the king of Halla until this intimation that within 3 days, if Shundi does not surrender to the king of Halla, then the latter would invade and conquer it. So Shundi was 40 leagues away from Halla, but the Goopy and Bagha were desperate to help the king. They said that in case if you don't worry about your brother, we will make sure that he does not invade your kingdom. We will try and get him here if possible. So the king of Shundi promises the hand of his daughter for marriage to either of the two men if they could stop the war. Goopy and Bagha promised to bring the king of Halla before him and stop the war. So that is how the action at Shundi ends for some time. Goopy and Bagha reach Halla, of course, with a clap of a hand and their magic shoes. But then they have only 2 days to perform whatever they could to stop the invasion. Halla is a famine-stricken place, highly impoverished, and it is reminiscent of the famine and the consequent poverty that had existed in Bengal, which Upendra Kishore Rai Chaudhary had also probably witnessed when he was writing the story. The defaulters who could not pay their taxes were brought to the court to be punished, to the court of Halla. And Goopy and Bagha also sneaked in with these defaulters. And when they found that they would be all executed, or rather beheaded, they broke out in a song. And whenever they sang, everybody would freeze. Either they would enjoy the music and move to those beats, or they would freeze on the spur of the moment and be unable to move. So as a result of their song, The effect was that it robbed the king of Hala his the wild, delirious character of going to the war. So suddenly he became very meek and childish, and he said, "No, I don't want to go to the war. Why do I want to do that?" So he went back to his previous state of being very meek and mild, and this is not what the prime minister wanted. So, of course, Goopy and Bagha became even more desperate to do something. So they stole into the palace. So they actually steal into the palace and they start eavesdropping the prime minister's plans of conspiracy with the magician Barfi. Here, let me tell you, Barfi is played by this famous poet Harindranath Chattopadhyay, the brother of Sarojini Naidu. Harindranath Chattopadhyay has written a lot of children's literature, particularly children's poetry, and it is extremely popular. So in the prime minister's room, Goopy and Bagha spy that Barfi hands the prime minister a medicine to restore speech to the people of Hala, because like in Shundi, where people could not speak, they were dumb. Even in Hala, the same problem existed. So nobody could speak there. So the adults here can interpret, can get a very different layer of interpretation as something like the government's reluctance to grant the common people an opportunity to voice its opinions. So just a thought. The prime minister asks Barfi to prepare such a portion of war delirium for the king of Hala that he can't be liberated from its effect until the war is over. Barfi tells the prime minister that Goopy and Bagha are hiding in the room through his magical powers. As soon as they are discovered, they sort of sing their way out. And while doing that, Goopy even steals the medicine for restoring speech, and they escape while the others freeze, spellbound to their song. So that is how they manage to run away. But then this running away is just a temporary situation. The prime minister and Barfi feed the king of Hala a strong portion, and the latter wants to immediately go to the war. Meanwhile, Goopy and Bagha are captured while sleeping under the sky, and they are imprisoned with only a single pair of magical shoes between them, so they can't escape. They can't just move out with a clap of a hand. Goopy sings a song in the prison, and while the king of Hala was making preparations for the war, he suddenly sort of mellows down and becomes as mild as he naturally is. Somehow, Goopy and Bagha feel so hungry that they can magically bring food for themselves by, again, a high five, and they secretly tempt their jailer to their exuberant magical meal, and that is how they sort of steal the key and they escape from the prison. They find their lost pair of magical shoes from the place they had been captured, and once that happens, they run out just in time for the parades to begin and the war to begin. So there, as you can see, there is this advancing army here. People are boarded on their camels and they are ready to go for war. Unfortunately, in Shundi, there were no animals, no horses, elephants, or camels, no armies at all, and they were very keen on ensuring that Shundi is safe. So this is how they start singing here, and here, of course, soon after the song, everybody freezes here, nobody can move, and at the end of the song, they bring food for everybody. Okay, so as you can see in the first picture, these are all pots of sweets descending from the sky, and then they landed very safely on the land. Okay, so all these pots made a safe landing, and as soon as these pots landed on the floor, everybody sort of came out and started eating, including the hungry soldiers. Do remember that everybody was hungry, and it was a poverty-stricken place, so everybody started eating, including the prime minister and the king. So as soon as the king of Halla started eating, Goopy and Bagha quickly carried him to Shundi with a clap of their hands. This is the king of Halla here. He's still eating. He's still with his pot of food, pot of sweets. And here we have the king of Shundi, who was so surprised seeing them. And the two brothers unite, and of course, Goopy and Bagha ask for their prize, and each has a daughter. So it's a happy ending for everybody. And of course, before this comes to a close, Goopy sets fire to the little medicine that would bring speech to the people of Shundi. So that happened. As you can see, there's a cloud of smoke, and this affected everybody, and it restored speech to everybody, and everybody started speaking. So the king was happy, and so was everybody else. So you can see one princess here. There was another princess too, and people are very happy here because they can speak once again. So this is what the story is about, a happy ending to a beautiful story. So the film ends with this image, a butterfly, a very traditional rangoli for that matter. And a butterfly is the symbol of a wedding. So that is how it ends. Now the cast and crew. Oh yes, here I would want to. So this is Tapan Chattopadhyay playing the role of Goopy. Robi Ghosh is Bagha. He is a very, very famous actor. Although he isn't very tall, and he has never played the role of a hero anywhere, but he has always been one of the best actors in the supporting role. Some more people in the crew. Something very interesting for you. Tinu Anand wanted to act in Satyajit Ray's films, but he got an opportunity as an assistant director. So here he was. That's why I thought I should show this to you. Now, this music has been given by Satyajit Ray. And contrary to what we find in the contemporary films of the day, the songs are very short, and yet they are very melodious. They were meant for children to feel happy about and hum around, but even adults found it very interesting to sort of follow. The choreography, as I had mentioned, some of it had been taken from folk dances. Some others are actually a dig on the contemporary society of Upendra Kishore Rai Chaudhary. So this is one of them. So as you can see, the Bengali babus are dancing, and they are actually dancing around with a cross, which is again a kind of a satire played on the blind imitative style that they had. Typography, of course, Ray has been one of the pioneers of as far as typography in films has been concerned. So he and all these sketches that you can see, these are given in the opening credits, and if we follow these sketches, they actually trace out the story of the film, which again makes it very interesting. This has been a trend during Satyajit Ray's time. Many other filmmakers have also tried this. Now, some of the comparisons. So for adult readers as well as viewers, this story can be compared to George Orwell's Animal Farm, because it has been a critique of a dominating government, particularly communist Russia here. But in terms of the film, of course, it does not show any particular place, but it can be symbolic of any kind of oppressive government. Anurag Basu's Chakka Jasoos also shows cakes raining down from the sky, again a tribute to Ray. Also, as I was mentioning while I was talking about the film, that people could not speak, they were dumb. So dumb as not foolish, but of course they could not speak, they were robbed of their speech. And many countries, even in the present day, have a similar constraint. There is no freedom of press, or there is limited freedom of press. And that is also suggestive of what we would see in the film. And that is how adult viewers found it equally interesting. Even in the present day, even if children do not belong to the generation when this film had been released, it still relates to them in many ways. So this is how, although there are many children that are visible in the film, but it is still very relatable. I just want to show you some scenes from here so that I can demonstrate some of the points. Is it visible?
Visible.
Okay. Yeah, so just show you this. So this is how Goopy Gayan is trying to impress the king of his own village. And it is supposed to be funny. So you will see how the humor has come up. Just get rid of this. Yeah.
দেখিয়েছেন বাবা, আমার গান শুনেছেন? হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ শুনিয়েছেন। কিছু বলেছেন? বলিয়েছেন বলিয়েছেন। নাম কি? আগে আমার নাম? না তুমি নাম জিজ্ঞেস করছো, নাম বলো, নাম বলো, বলো নাম বলো। আগে আমার নাম শ্রী গোপীনাথ কাই। চেঁচাইছিলি কেনে? আগে আমি তো চেঁচানি রায় মশাই, আমি তো গান গাইলাম, ভৈরবী রাগিনী। এই যে আমার তানপুরা। কই দেখি। তানপুরা এই পাঁচ পুকুরের গোসাই খুড়ো ওই তেরা থেকে পাওয়া।
সপ্তক জানা আছে?
আগে সাতসুর জানা আছে? আগে হ্যাঁ জানা আছে।
তৃতীয় সুরটা কি?
তৃতীয় সুর গা।
ষষ্ঠ সুর?
না।
দুয়ে মিলে কি হয়?
দুয়ে মিলে।
So the joke here is that the king is trying to call him Gadha. So a Bengali speaker would say Gadha, but and not Gadha. So that is how the humiliation comes to Goopy. So I'll just go a little ahead. Now, the monologue that you would be seeing here is something that almost all children know and want to follow. Yeah.
তৃতীয় সুর, ষষ্ঠ সুর, তৃতীয় সুর, ষষ্ঠ সুর। গোপী চলল বহুদূর, বহুদূর। কোথায় চললি রে? হ্যাঁ, চলি 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 পথের যে নাই শেষ। গোপী আছে দেশ, কেবল আছে ভাবনা ভাবনা। সন্ধ্যা হইলে বন বাদারে, বাঘে যদি ধরে, গোপী যদি মরে।
So this has become a very popular monologue. I'll just show something else, which I think it is 16. Yeah. So this is the king of Shundi, and some of the details are very beautifully done here. Okay, just wanted to draw your attention to what kind of caricatures he has used. Somebody who is really thin has a very heavy voice. Somebody who is slightly healthier has a thinner voice. So that's how Satyajit Ray has actually tried to generate humor through situations rather than just people falling off or just slapstick comedy. And if you just see the next thing that happens here.
Maharaja তোমারে সেলাম 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 মোরা বাংলাদেশের থেকে মোরা বাংলাদেশের থেকে
So this is, okay, I'll just show you one last clipping, which is very short, and I'll stop. Yeah, so this is the advancing army.
বাবা দেখো যে কত সেনা চলেছে সমরে ওরে বাবা দেখো যে কত সেনা চলেছে সমরে কত সেনা হাজারে হাজারে হাতিয়ারে বুঝি কাটাকুটি করে
So this is the song that actually stops the war. One would always want that wars could be stopped like this, particularly that in Ukraine at the moment. But it's a very inspiring song, and this is how he gets the advancing army to stop. So yeah, thank you very much. Let's stop here.
Very good presentation.
Thank you. Well spoken.
Thank you very much.
That you gave us.
Thank you so much for taking me back to those years. I was in Kolkata and I must have seen this at least half a dozen times.
Same here.
Wonderful presentation.
I enjoyed it all the more.
Yeah, in fact, because I was preparing for this presentation, I got to see it again and I was enjoying every second. So I really loved it.
Children's movie, but then it takes you somewhere else.
Yes, true. Really
and
true.
Bobby Ghosh with his round eyes, you know.
Yes.
Really, thank you for taking me back to those days.
Thank you, man.
I've been craving real Rasgulla, which I haven't had ever since I left Kolkata.
Where is it, Rasgulla? Have you got one there?
Wonderful presentation.
Prashant.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Prashant, good morning. Prashant, good morning. Your take.
Yeah, Prashant is in Texas, so I get early morning for him.
Okay.
So, Monali, that was very interesting, and you know, there's such an innocence to
yes.
the movie, isn't there? I mean, you have to allow that innocence within you to come out and take
exactly
to enjoy the film. Now, given the bad print and given the number of years that have passed and that film technology has become so much more slick, you know?
Yes.
I was wondering, now you said that the budget for the movie was considered huge in those days, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
was it because of those ghost scenes and the special effects? I mean, what was so very expensive about the film? I could only think of those special effects. Is there anything else?
Yes, in fact, the places were real. So there's a scene wherein you would see snow, and that was real snow. It was not studio made snow.
So they had to
going
go
to
to
that
a-
place,
right,
yes.
right,
So
right.
and Ray was an ardent follower of how real things would look like. So even in Pather Panchali, for example, he waited for those season's flowers to come up. Caste full, those large feather-like flowers to come up, and he had to wait for months for that, and he did that. So, and
Yes.
this is exactly what he did even here. He wanted so many camels, he wanted so many extra people, he wanted to give this idea of an entire city. So all these things take up a lot of money.
Oh,
So
yes. Indeed.
Ideally, most of his films are on a shoestring budget, but for this, he had to make sure that the children enjoy it. So he had to go an extra mile. So,
Okay,
yes.
I think Kaveri has raised her hand. So Kaveri, would you like to take the mic here?
Very interesting, Monali, beautifully presented.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I also wanted to add to the, you pointed out that there was other literary works which drew inspiration from this one. I can't recall whether you mentioned Rushdie, because in the, so he uses in the, the chupwalas in the sea of, the chupwalas were, and he acknowledged, and two of the fish were named Goopy and Bagha.
That's nice.
There
That's
also.
very cute.
And the other thing about this film is that,
That's
you know,
really
it is actually has a lot of layers of meaning. It's a lovely film for children. It was very, very popular with children. But there's much in it for those who wish to look below the surface. The Goopy and Bagha are like, you know, the subalterns, Grand Chief subalterns who were excluded from the socio-economic narrative of those times. They were deprived of, you know, worthwhile existence. There are also sort of subtle caste references in the beginning when the Brahmins, that group of old men who are, of course, playing dice and who are wasting their time, who insult him and send him to the king. And for the biggest thing was that a Tanpura was supposed to be representative of, you know, a higher caste kind of a different skill level, which this poor man did not possess. And that was symbolically destroyed by the king. Also, I think in some senses it can be seen as, though I don't think Ray ostensibly meant to project it as that, as a film which is against war and which portrays the futility of war. And in one of the songs, I think Goopy says, what is the point of having a war?
The one that I just showed.
Yeah. So it was also a film which was for pacifism, for the futility of conflict and of war. And the other thing is, you know, Ray was a advertising professional. So his storyboards used to be apparently very interesting because he would do sketches. He would do, I beg your pardon, his script was like storyboards. So you produce a storyboard with the visual, which he would always sketch, and he would put in the dialogue at the side. So the one on the ghosts, apparently what he did was, of course, he drew out everything, you know, the dance of the ghosts. And it has kind of similarities with Indonesian puppet theater in the way in which it has been shown. But in his storyboard, he apparently wrote for each of those, you know, he put the Brahmins right at the bottom. In all those grossly overweight men right at the bottom. There was a Brahmin priest, and there was also a schoolmaster, and there was also, I think, a padri, a Christian priest. Right at the top, he put the kings. And when he was portraying those 6 kings, Apparently, the first one was from Puranic times. The second one was representative of Buddhist times. So there was historical, also chronology, which was coming in. The third one was pre-Mughal. Then he showed a Mughal king with Mughal clothing. And then, of course, a king of our contemporary times. Also, there was one of king from the southern regions. And in the next one, where he showed the peasants, he started with the tribal, a tribal followed by, of course, the laborers, farm workers, and a baul singer. So he was commenting on the socio-economic status as well as the caste status that prevailed in Bengal at that time. When he was showing this. And also among those 6, I think, who are shown in the peasant category, there's Muslims. So the fact that Muslims and Hindus live seamlessly together, even in the Shundi,
I forgot to mention
kingdom,
that.
you see Muslims and Hindus who are living seamlessly together. And his decision not to have, that the fact that they were mute, they could not speak, and then there was, but yet there was so much beauty around them. It's like, that the ability to speak is superfluous when you have everything else that you require. And you can convey everything you wish without having the power of speech. There's some very beautiful and, layered meanings in that film, while it is delightful for children. It's also a film which has much for adults who want to, consider, because he had such an intellect. That in the entertainment he provided children, there would always be these references which were reflective of the times. And by the way, the British that he showed in the British Ghosts, one of them is Hastings. He has a revolver in his hand, which refers to the famous duel that Hastings had. The second one is Clyde. One of them is Cornwallis with a long coat. So that was also the historical background of Bengal. Was being depicted in the ghost dance. So it is a fascinating film. And thanks to your presenting it, I looked at it again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
I just talking about it. Where has all that art gone? Why is it not there? As someone who can, from a children's film, make a comment which is very specific to what's happening in the country. Where is it gone?
Yes.
It's lost. In fact, I forgot to mention that the King of Ghosts has been played by somebody else, but the voice belongs to
Satyajit Ray. That's right.
Just forgot to mention that.
And he seems to have the Brahmin poetry.
Yes. He does that.
I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but represented.
No, it was very deliberate. He would not keep even a speck on his scene without intention.
Having it to, so that was the Brahmin, in terms of the wisdom that was represented. But
in fact,
he also showed those 4 Brahmins who were parasites from society, sitting and playing dice. And insulting this poor young man.
In fact, in the original story, Upendra Kishore Rai Chaudhary has given a very elaborate description of the kind of times that he's talking about. And this was famine-stricken Bengal that he was talking about. And all the bad parts, all the negative aspects of Bengal had been represented by the kingdom of Halla. So poverty, people unable to pay taxes, people are impoverished, they are hungry, and there is illness. So everything is shown at one go in that place. So yes.
One of them is mine.
Where is Tazeen here? Tazeen, what is your take on that?
I also thought that the scenes when they came, the natural scenery was very bleak. And I'm happy to know that it was during the famine. So maybe that's why, the fields and all were just very stark and bleak and not sort of lush, which you associate with Bengal normally.
Yes. In Shundi, of course, when Goopy and Bagha land, they land in the fields and the fields are ready for harvest and it looks very beautiful. In fact, as I had mentioned, the film that you find on YouTube, the quality is slightly poor, but when we had actually seen this on Doordarshan so many years ago, it was amazing. In fact, they had especially digitally remastered the whole film so that it looks much more presentable. So at that time, it was much
YouTube
more
was very sad,
visible.
actually.
Yeah,
But,
I know. I'm so sorry.
but the joy of the music and all was wonderful, you know.
Yes.
And is that
In
Hemant
fact,
Kumar voice?
No, it is
Sings.
Anup Kumar. It is Anup Kumar who had sung this. So Anup Kumar Ghoshal.
Yeah, that's right.
in fact, when you said that the quality of this kind of film is supposed to have gone bad, can't we improve it? I think next time Latika is there, we must talk to Latika. Has got some sway in the NIFT, etc. She'll be able to do something on that. But coming back, who else is left across there? Sunita, I was going to call Sunita there.
Yeah,
Where's
I think she
Sunita?
just left.
Okay, Prashant. Prashant, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Satish.
Good to hear your voice.
Yeah.
It's way early in the morning, I know.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, I'm using my cell phone because the room in which I have the computer was not free. But I can still hear most of the conversation.
Can you give your take on it? Can you give your take on it?
Actually, I have not seen the movie. So I really can't give any take on it. But the presentation was lovely. That's where I'll put it.
Thank you, sir.
I have not seen the movie, okay, but the presentation was very good. And I missed the first 10 minutes, okay, so.
Okay.
Monali, I was just wondering that, you know, there were all these, the songs and the fantasy and, you know, this innocent pair who ultimately are rewarded, who do good.
Yes.
The pacifists, you know, who say end war, the meaninglessness of violence and so on. It is all good for children to see. I'm just wondering, I mean, is it my adult mind today that thinks it? Or is the movie a little slow and a little too long for a child's attention span? I mean, is it?
No, ma'am. In fact, what I found was, even today when I was going over the movie just for the last time before this presentation, I could see that the scene of action changed very quickly. And it altered between Shundi and Halla. So for some time we can see Shundi and good things happening there. And at another time, we can see tension brewing up in Halla, and people are getting ready to attack Shundi.
So there's enough change of pace and change of scene, and change of emotion. Okay.
Exactly. And I've seen this as a child. So I do remember that not even once did I get confused in the story, or did I find it difficult to understand. So there was one more thing I just wanted to mention. There is a point wherein Goopy and Bagha are captured by the Prime Minister of Halla and they're taken to prison. And there, Goopy sings a song, and there's a line there which roughly translates like this, that if the king abandons his throne for some time and he takes a breath of fresh air outside, mingles with the people outside, then he would also have his peace of mind, and he would bring some peace even to the people around him. So today, I think this has become perhaps one of the most important things that everybody would want to tell its oppressive government.
Monali, I'm going to ask Dr. Bharucha. He's raised his hand. Dr. Eric Bharucha is a leading ornithologist.
Okay.
Dr. Bharucha, you're on.
I'm not talking as an ornithologist. I'm talking as somebody reaching his second childhood, which is why I love this story so very, very much. It was, and besides, you presented it just so very well. It was perfect. But what I enjoyed most was the fact that it is a children's story. I mean, I could read most of what you said into it as an adult, but really one looks at it as a child and you can really appreciate what it means to a child. I thought it was very nice. I enjoyed it very much, and now I just have to see the whole thing.
Yeah. I think we'll try to get a better copy from it. We'll ask Latika whether she can manage and we can show. Indu, Anil, you're there. I can see you.
Yes, it was absolutely fascinating. Anil and I, we remember that we had seen the movie before, but you know, our perspective changes with a professional touch. But the magic of the movie is in the pace at which he brings out all the little ideas. And I wanted to tell Monali that this timing of this presentation is perfect to tell us that wars are preventable and people are brothers. This man, the king of Shundi and Allah are brothers, but Zelensky and Putin are also brothers.
The brotherhood of man.
If a man would come and sing, and you know, if the king of ghosts was going to bring them all together, then why have so much destruction and so much sorrow, all of which this man prevents, and all the musical styles Satyajit Ray brings out. Beautiful musical styles.
Indu, I'm very much with you. I very much feel the need that for some improvement of world is required.
Yeah.
This is, I think, thank you, Monali, for bringing this movie to us. I think Anil also wants to say a word.
Great presentation, Monali. I'm a great admirer of Satyajit Ray. I mean, his abilities are just so wide-ranging. He knows music very well. He can write very well. He can write scripts. He can draw very well. He writes good stories. And the filming is also of a high quality. And I didn't know he had made so many films. I've seen just a few of them. So, you know, for instance, the use of music to bring out emotions and tell the stories is really fantastic. What they call navaras and the different bhav that can be brought up. And
very, very true. Very true.
I am just zapped by this movie, and I'm going to see it again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's all thanks to Monali. Monali, thank you very much. I don't think there are many questions. People have kind of closing up shop. Can you take over?
Okay. Yes. So, Monali, I want to begin by thanking you because several months ago, I had sort of, put out a plea for someone to discuss Satyajit Ray, please. And you took it up. You took up Ghare Baire and now this movie. So we've had two Satyajit Ray movies.
Yes.
Such a giant, in the world of filmmaking. So multifaceted, as Anil said. He has every quality, every ability that could possibly be required. So instead of having separate people to do the music and to do this and do that, he has just done it himself. Amazing man. And I think an unforgettable man and one that we must revisit quite often. So I think these two times when we have revisited Satyajit in your company, Monali, they have been very, very rewarding, very enriching. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, ma'am.
And by the way, if you should want to do one more film of Ray's, I won't stop you.
I'm all ready, always.
Apur Sansar, or I don't know whichever one.
Sure.
You feel.
I support that. As many Satyajit Ray.
Yes. I mean, such a giant, and he's ours. He belongs to India, and we are so proud that he has this international reputation, very well deserved and earned. And how can we not feed him and celebrate him and revisit him as often as we can? So let's do it. Let's not, let's not forget him. Let's celebrate him again and again. Monali, thank you very, very much. And thank you to everybody who came here and who participated. There hasn't been a negative word. I think I'm the only one who sounded two doubts, and both of them were answered soundly and wrongly. Bye, Monali. I'm so happy to know. So thank you, everybody, very, very much.
Thank you, Monali.
Next Sunday, we have Sheena Shahani, And the Mountains Echoed, which is a novel which came after The Kite Runner. It's the third one, The Kite Runner. I think the first.
It's a very moving book.
Yeah, something Thousand Suns or something. And then this one. I'm in the process of reading it. It looks very thick, huh? It was so intimidating. And I said, oh my God, she's chosen such a thick book. How will I finish? But the print is large and the papers are only 400. The paper is thick. It's not that long. So very, very doable. And it's lovely. I can see already the narration is sophisticated and so on. So we look forward to that. And then, of course, we have Manu Pillai's book after that on the 27th. We have the Shakespeare celebration on the 10th of April, folks. Many of you are participating and we're really looking forward to that. And that will be the 100th episode of the book club in the time of Corona. And thereafter, we're going to take a little break because we hope that when we come back, it's not going to be the time of Corona anymore. So we can look forward to a new format. Okay. So thank you very much. And Farooq will have the last word.
Farooq, you're in now.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell everybody that, I mean, first of all, I want to thank Monali for a fantastic performance and for fantastic presentation, lessons to learn how to make a good presentation for you. I would like to inform everybody next Saturday, we have a joint program of the book club and Gyanpedia. We are going to invite Dr. Iraj Barucha, who was there just now, to comment on your program, and he's going to present the new book that he has written on on Salim Ali. What is that?
Ornithologist.
Ornithologist. Okay. Anyway, so he has written some wonderful books. Iraj Barucha himself, he has written a huge book like this, which I purchased from Flipkart, costing it normally costs 20,000 rupees, but it cost me 5,000 rupees on nature, and he has really made this book fantastic. Then he's talked about some green bridges and a lot of books he has written. And this Salim Ali's book is Dr. Salim Ali used to take him on his motorcycle when Iraj Barucha was 9 years old or 7 years old, and Salim Ali taught Iraj Barucha how to follow nature and things like that. And I am expecting Satish, BNHS people to join.
Yes.
And, this is going to be one of the premium programs for Gyanadab. And I would like everybody to forward the creators that I'll be shooting tonight or to tomorrow morning. I'll be giving the emailers, the WhatsApp banners, the Zoom links, everything. I would like as many people to join as possible because Iraj Barucha is a legend.
Icon.
Famous icon. And what he has done for nature, he is a surgeon. He has started two colleges at Pune University and Bharatiya Vidyapeeth. He has set up the
college, medical college.
He started the BSc or something for environment. He teaches people how to learn about environment and environment management. So next week we'll have that, and a week after that we are going to have a program from Portland. There's a very, very, very good, very intelligent gentleman who works on astronomy and cosmology, and he has built his own 12-inch telescope, and he's going to present from Portland. He just sent me all his stuff, and I have to read it tonight. I can prepare everything. And next month we have another program from Apurva Bahadur on the railways. And Nasima is preparing something. She comes out magically with some Urdu program that will happen. And my one request was to Mohini that if April 3rd is free and we are all in this mood of movies, if we can rerun our Pakiza program, it's open to you.
Good idea.
Because that is a really good thing. And Mohini, the program Pakiza that Gyanadab did has 17,000 views on YouTube.
No, it was good. I saw it.
90% are full views. People have watched the whole program. 17,000. So it's one of our iconic programs. So if you want, we can run it again.
Well, let's discuss it, Farooq.
Yeah, we have a volunteer, but okay, let's think.
Yeah, in case you want, since April 3rd was there, and we are all in the mood of movies, so there's some very good music there, and things are good. Change. Anyway, so thank you very much. And please note, the whole program is there on Facebook. I'll be putting the Facebook link on the book club chat group. And good night, everybody. So
good night. Thank you.
Good
All the very
night.
best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Monali.
Bye,
See you.
sir.
See you next
Bye,
week.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye.